Hello and welcome to Gender Politics. This class explores the relative power and impact of women in contemporary politics and pinpoints the biggest hurdles to and most promising opportunities for gender political equality. In this online class, we'll discuss the structure and expectations associated with the class. We'll explore why this class is important and how it relates to other kinds of classes at Hamline related to gender. And we'll also identify the kinds of questions that we'll cover in conversations that we'll have. My name is Alina Oxendine, and you're welcome to call me Alina. I've been at Hamline for over a decade as a full-time professor in the political science department. I enjoy talking and meeting with students, so don't hesitate to reach out if you need help with anything. My office hours are listed on Canvas and on the syllabus, and so please drop by and say hi. In this short YouTube video, I talk a little about my background and why I decided to study political science. Just in case you're curious, you'll learn why I might fall into a Southern accent occasionally. And as I mentioned in the video, my research area is political psychology and public opinion. And I'm really interested in how people think about politics and what shapes their views and why those views matter. Some of you have taken courses on women and or gender already. And so when we get together and have our first discussion, I want you to think about the question, how do you think this class might differ from those other classes that you've taken? You'll find that this class will approach the study of gender using a social scientific approach. And it's basically using the scientific method to gather and analyze data and questions relevant to gender politics. During our first discussion, just be ready to talk about how you think this class, again, might be different from a class on gender that you've taken in, say, like the humanities or in another discipline. How might a political scientist study gender? And so I just look forward to that because I think it should be an interesting conversation to get us all started. And in this class, we'll not only analyze gender using the scientific method, but we'll also work through some other learning outcomes. So we'll identify and critically analyze differences across cultures, genders, religions, or other value systems in the study of politics. We'll also explore how political institutions and policies shape gender hierarchy. So those are some other top goals that we have. And then also you're gaining credit for Hamline Plan outcomes as well, including Hamline Plan C, S, and D. So this class develops and strengthens collaborative skills. It explores gender and politics using, again, like I said, the social scientific approach. And then it also analyzes issues and problems associated with gender, race, age, class, minority, ethnic identity, ability, and sexual orientation, which contributes to your Hamline Plan D, which stands for diversity. In our first module, we'll start talking about how the United States is doing in terms of gender equality and people's views about men, women, and gender roles. This will be an important question and theme throughout the class, actually, and we'll talk about interesting trends in public opinion research. So we'll start by talking about an article that discusses and analyzes survey research comparing views of millennials versus other older generations. And as you can see here in this bar graph, generations certainly differ in terms of how they perceive advantages for men versus women. And what's interesting is even with what looks like a shift towards more progressive thought, scholars actually disagree about whether gender equality is actually improving over time. So that's going to be one of the first controversies or debates that we'll talk about in class. And we'll also discuss the most important obstacles for gender equality in the United States and worldwide, exploring factors that shape the power that women have relative to men and that non traditional approaches to gender have relative to the status quo. We'll cover three main forces, and that's really kind of how our class is organized into three main forces that are pivotal in influencing gender equality, including political institutions, culture, and social structure. Institutions are political rules of the game, and we'll ask, for instance, whether electoral rules matter for gender political equality. Political culture includes the shared views and normative judgments held by a population and will explore culture as it relates to gender. And a question related to that would be, how do gender stereotypes help to maintain the political status quo? And finally, we'll explore how social structures in our society affect gender equality. And these structures include things like family, marriage, and workplaces. So, how do these different structures affect the uh, gender balance of power that we've been talking about? Your syllabus describes our main assignments for the class. So, of course, look at that very, very carefully. And you can see how assignments will be graded, how much they'll count towards your final grade. You can see here and in your syllabus that you'll have quizzes, and those will be on a weekly basis. And those will count for 25% of your grade. Class discussion counts for 25%. You have also some paper worksheets, and those will count towards 10% of your grade. You'll have a group collaboration peer review part of the course worth 10%, and then also a final paper worth 30%. So note that your final paper counts as a final assessment of what you're learning in the class. So you won't have a formal final examination or test during finals week. Most students really like writing this paper because it gives them a chance to explore an area of gender politics that they find really interesting. So start thinking about a research topic that it really excites you and that you really want to learn more about. You'll have a paper module early in the term that will provide guidance on how to approach this whole assignment. So you're going to get plenty of support along the way. All right, so now I'd like to talk about how our class will be structured. The class it consists of 13 modules after you complete the Getting Started one that you're in right now. And each module includes instructions, readings, an online class, a quiz or written assignment, and a class discussion. You're right now in the Getting Started module, and hopefully it's going well so far. With this module, read over the class syllabus and the Canvas site. Also, complete the Getting Started quiz. Be ready to introduce yourself to the class during our discussion. And as you move through the class, you'll find that each module's structure is very consistent. First, your module will include clear instructions for how to complete that module, and you should start by reading them. They'll tell you about the learning goals that are being covered for that unit, that learning unit, as well as questions that should guide your reading and what we'll cover during our discussions. Each module will also include readings. You'll have a Google Doc with an overview of the reading assignment, and the assigned chapters or articles will be available on Canvas. And so they're going to be in electronic format and usually in PDF form. And they may include links to videos or documentaries or even podcasts. So we'll be exploring a wide variety of different kinds of materials. Usually students really like that because people have different learning, styles or just different things that they find interesting. So having this variety should be helpful and keep it kind of interesting and exciting for people. And if at any point it seems like a lot or you get overwhelmed by your assignments, make sure to use the online class to get a good sense of really what's most important. And then also use the guiding questions to focus your reading as well. And then always, always feel free to reach out to me, the professor, just for some guidance as well. I can sometimes prioritize materials for you in addition to the other tips that I just shared. All right, so we'll read several chapters from Women, Politics, and Power, and this book is available electronically via Bush Library. And you'll also view clips from documentaries, listen to podcasts, and read news articles. And all of these things should bring gender politics to life. And all of these assignments will be available on Canvas and in our Google Drive folder. And note that you will not have to purchase any books for this class, which is really cool. We'll watch really interesting documentaries, including Makers, The Choice, Pride Denied, and Misrepresentation. And there will be plenty of others too. So I think it's just super interesting. There are so many different films out there that are really interesting and will provide us with a good amount of questions to explore in the class. And then along to step 3, alongside your readings, make sure to complete the online class. Listen to the online class, go through the slides, and make sure to engage fully with them. And depending on how you learn, it might be most useful to complete the online class before doing the readings. It's really up to you. Either way, in doing it before or after doing the readings, it's just important to get it done at some point. And a question is, why? Why should I listen to the online class? Well, it will explain why we're doing the readings, how they connect to each other, why they're important. The online classes also distill the most important points and arguments. And so they're really important for that reason as well. And then they also include instruction that are it's going to help you to succeed on your quizzes and your papers as well. So you're really going to need that information to do well in the class. And then there might also be some hidden extra credit opportunities that will only be available in the online classes. So, for each online class, make sure to watch and listen to the YouTube video. It's usually going to be on the first or second slide of the slideshow, and then move through the slides on your own to engage with the hyperlinks and watch the integrated videos. Note that the YouTube video provides closed captioning for the hearing impaired for anyone who needs it. And then after you've completed your readings and the online class, you're ready for that module's informal quiz or assignment. It's an opportunity to illustrate that you're reading and engaging with the assigned materials, and it's designed to hold you accountable for the materials. It's not meant to trip you up or cause you any stress. The quizzes are actually quite informal. They're open book, and they can also even be taken again a second time. So all of these things kind of reduce the amount of stress, which is really, I think students really like that. The quizzes are also designed to be completed after you're done with the readings and online class, but before class discussion. So that's why they're due on Wednesdays prior to our discussions. Each module finishes with our discussion. So come prepared and ready to explore the main discussion topics or the main questions that you have laid out in the instructions document in your module. And then also make sure to come to class or our discussions ready to use evidence from class readings and online lectures to support your points. And during our conversations, of course, make sure to be kind to one another. And we will talk together during our first discussion about what we can do as a group to encourage healthy, productive conversations. And then you can always be thinking about what we can do as individuals. So make sure to try to be diplomatic. Try to also remind yourself that diversity is really good, and it's okay if you disagree with other people in the class. It's actually a great learning opportunity as long as we can, back to the first point, be kind to each other and show respect across those differences. And during our first discussion, you'll be asked to share the following: your name and personal pronouns, year in school, why you're taking this class, gender topics or areas that you're interested in, and then also a fun fact or something that most people don't know about you, and that will help us to remember each other and learn names of each other. All right. So, as it is your first reading assignment, make sure to read your syllabus thoroughly. There will be even some quiz questions to make sure you're paying attention. If you have any questions, definitely bring them to our first discussion or send me an email. And as you navigate the course, please let me know if you have any difficulties or need any help. I'm here to support you and want everyone to learn successfully. I look forward to working with you this term and hope that you have a terrific rest of the week.